village of Wroxham on our magnificent Broads lies Hoveton and the renowned Hoveton Hall Gardens. In summer, a palette of colour lovingly tended by their team of experienced gardeners. Harry, your gardens are renowned for its summer colour. How do you look after it during the winter?
Well, mostly it looks after itself in lots of ways. There are some things that we need to do. On the left here, we're coming up to where the sort of gunner, South American plant, grows up every year, and it's very susceptible to hard frosts. So what we do, and we'll do it very imminently, is cut all the leaves off with a sort of hook, and you lay them over the heart or the bulb or the flower, which is just in there, and that will be enough to protect them over the winter. And it will all disappear virtually to nothing, and then it will regrow, and you'll have this wonderful umbrella by June, July next year. So winter's a very important time here, really, not just for protection of these plants, but also for us to do operations that need to be done when the garden's not open to the public, and also the minimum disturbance to the actual ecostructure of the plant itself.
This year, Harry and his wife Rachel have decided to open up the estate grounds for a fabulous Christmas event with a festive craft fair in the stable yards, bowls of warming soup and Christmas-themed cakes in the tea room, and a magical Santa trail where children can feed and stroke Santa's reindeer.
The inspiration started really last year when I took my children on a trail around Buxton Woods, and it was just magical. The children loved it. They get great exercise. They got to see Father Christmas, which is always lovely, and real reindeer, which just adds that extra special element. So when I came back from that, I thought, we've got the grounds, we've got the indoor space and the outdoor space, why not do something similar? And originally it started off as just a Santa's trail, and then we decided we'd add to it and have a craft fair, because we know how popular they are, especially at Christmas time. The Santa's trail actually is all about Father Christmas having a bit of a disaster with his sleigh and having a crash landing at the hall, and all the children that come have to find all the missing elements that fell from his sleigh, like an owl's hat or the reindeer reins or the Santa sat-nav. So he's quite pleased that we're having this trail, and he's very happy to pop in and say thank you for the children for finding everything for him.
Like Holcombe Hall and Hoveton Gardens, Blickling also opens up to the general public just before Christmas, giving everyone a chance to soak up the welcoming aroma of mulled wine, hot chocolate and gingerbread in the cafes and restaurants, to picking up their Christmas wreaths and greenery fresh from the park.
Blickling's decorated for the public for the first 3 weekends of December. So we have a beautifully decorated house. We have different historical themes in each of the rooms. We have a brand new visitor route for Christmas, so people will get to see rooms that they wouldn't normally see. What's new this year is that we have persuaded the countryside and the gardening team to actually do stuff outside in the countryside as well. So we have trails, we have Christmas trees, we have lights, we have Yule tree trails. We also have a tree of traditions up in the temple. So it'll be an opportunity for people to make a note of their own Christmas traditions and actually leave them as a bit of a memory in the temple.
I've included my Victorian parlour game that the family have been playing called the Family Coach. It was introduced by my grandmother Rosemary many, many years ago. It involves far too much exercise, getting up and sitting down again. Not so good after a long meal and a glass of wine, but it's good fun. And it's a good family game. It's a tradition within the Bailey household. So I've written about that, and I'm going to attach that to the tree. And I'm sure this traditions tree will be a tradition at Blickling for many years to come.
This room has been decorated by some of the RAF Alton Museum volunteers. They've got a real passion for the RAF story, so this has been decorated in the late 1930s, 1940s style. And we really tell the story of Blickling here. The house was left to us in 1940. And unfortunately, we don't have a resident family, so we make our own traditions and kind of do things in our own way, really.
With Christmas approaching, Harry took me around the estate to choose the best fir tree to decorate inside the hall and bring their drawing room alive with festive cheer.
So Harry, tell me about when you planted these and why you planted them, in fact.
Okay, well this is always a bit of waste ground, and it didn't have any agricultural purpose. So I thought about 10 years ago I'd plant some Christmas trees with the view that the price of Christmas trees is quite extensive in the shops, and I just got fed up of doing it. So I thought for my parents or whatever, we would do some trees. I planted specifically what is normally known as a Norwegian spruce, which is a traditional Christmas tree, costing, I don't know, about 10-20p per plant. And I also planted some Scotch, which you see behind you, which are going to be the permanent trees here. And then, rather foolishly, I planted 5 radiata, which is these enormous trees. And they were all this height at the same time. And obviously the radiata love growing here and have got away tremendously. They're all exactly the same age, which gives you some idea about why the different growth spurts of trees. So what we're here to do today is really the last year or two of getting a Christmas tree for the house, because they've got away so much and they're beginning to lose their shape. So to identify one for the house, maybe identify one for the house next year so that we look after that one and earmark it. And at the same time, over there, we've got a Scotch that's going to be a really good tree in the middle. And I'm going to remove the tree to the left and the right today. And those will go up as part of the Christmas trail. But it's really, they're coming down today so that the Scotch can get away and they'll be in the place. And potentially there's a tree in the back there that's going to come out as well for the same reason.
But the Norwegian spruce has that traditional shape.
Yes.
And if you like, it has the branches, the twigs that will actually hold Christmas decorations beautifully, whereas the radiata, much larger, seems to be much bushier, if that's the right word. So Harry, which one are you going to choose for the hallway?
Well, I think we're going to have this one here in front of us. Right. It's about roughly the right height, little less that I need to take off the bottom.
Right.
And then we'll do
Ross, good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
So Ross, we're going to have this one for the hall, I think.
Yeah.
I was just saying because it's about the right height and it's got good sort of coverage.
With the trees finally cut and loaded onto his vehicle, Ross and his fellow foresters bring the chosen spruce to the hall in preparation for decorating by the young Buxton children. I asked Harry about his memories of Christmas past and of old family traditions.
The structure of a place like this has always been a family home. Christmas is very much a family-oriented time. So yes, the family always gathered at certain times of the year, and Christmas is an important one. My memories of it were contrasting, really. When my grandparents lived here, always a huge welcome, sort of mistletoe and holly everywhere. Going through quite cold rooms into the main drawing room, which was roasting hot. Lots of games, charades and wonderful sort of games and jigsaw puzzles. Always ridiculously complicated jigsaw puzzles that if you did one bit you felt like a millionaire. And then an amazing meal in the dining room with sort of turkey and sort of crackers and things like that. I remember, maybe it's just a childhood added memory, that we used to have a lot more snow. And snow earlier in the year, if we have snow now, last year I think was the first year we haven't had any snow on the ground for a long time. And if this year carries on like it is, and maybe we won't get any this year, I don't know. And the lake, up to about the millennium, used to freeze to bearing thickness every year. And skating was a very big part of Christmas at Hoveton. Generations have skated on the lake, and not just family, all the village. People from the village used to come up and skate, all the farmhands. And sort of mulled wine served on the edge of the lake while we skated up and down. You know, you learn in the old-fashioned way with a chair being pushed in front of you. The last time, I think, was about 2011.
Another element of a traditional British Christmas is the carol singing, and at Blickling, the staff and volunteers have formed a choir to entertain the visitors.
The Blickling choir hasn't been going for that long, I think about 3 years, and they came together really as a sort of a celebratory event, so singing together is a really lovely thing to do anyway. We were lacking a choir for Christmas. We'd had other choirs come along, but we really felt that we needed our own choir. So Jan and Joe and some of the house team started it, and they've been practising ever since.
We formed a choir of any volunteers, whether they could sing or not, particularly so that they could just enjoy singing together. The choir is absolutely delightful. They thoroughly enjoy coming. They're exceedingly responsive. They will do anything I ask them to do.
Still to come in our Stately Homes Christmas special, the children at Hoveton Hall decorate the tree as Christmas approaches, and the lights go on at Blickling.